All right, I don't know where William is. We'll be in here. Let me change the background. Maybe we'll just have more. Yeah. Maybe we'll just have more Bible every morning. I got plenty of notes I didn't get to. Let me fix some things. This is This Way Network. And change the background. Oops, where is it? There. So anybody jumping in here that is looking for William and I talking about the mainstream media fails to convince the world. Well, I'll save that topic for if and when William jumps in here. We don't know. He will remember, but you never know what's going on. If somebody doesn't show up, there could be something going on in their lives, or technical difficulties, or they overslept, or he has a client that he can't get away from fixing something. Maybe I'm not going to speculate, but I miss William. And until he comes in, I am going to continue with my commentary. Let's go. Whoops. Formatting. There we go. Okay, we'll remember. I don't know. Yeah, it might be with a client. So I'm going to put the banner up again. All right, let's go to Ruth. Glad you're all back, or some of you who are here. Oh, there he is. Never mind. He's here.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
All right.
Put on them headphones. Get right. Here we go. Yes, he might be. Yes, I am. Thank you, AC Cruz. We'll remember. Yeah, I didn't forget. I was in the middle of I was trying to get people, get the door shut, get going, and here he is. And we use poor grammar on top of that too. Here he is.
I'm gonna take this banner off. Hold on a second.
I'm just gonna take that banner off. And then I couldn't get in I was into my other StreamYard for my channel, and I was trying to get signed over into that, and everything was just going all wonky.
It's good to have you.
It's great to have you. It's great. I'm up your good to a great. I'm upping your ante to great. It's great to have you. Beat that.
I'm duly one upped. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. Good to see you too.
Always good.
Yeah. What's up, bitch? Look, I got people. We got love out there. God's love. Lucas, Saigo. I screwed it. What? Sego. Well, I'm just gonna forever mess everything up. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how we're gonna get by.
Sega. Was that a video game system? Sega.
Do you remember the original Sega before there was a Sega Genesis? Before you turned it on, it didn't have a video game in it. It would play the motorcycle game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Days. How old are you, William?
42. I'll be 43 August 16th. My birthday is right around the corner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let you lead this topic here. As usual. You get rid of this.
Lead the topic. Let me see if I can get everything rolling here. Okay, here we go. Lead the topic. What were you? You had something going on when I came in, or what were we doing?
I do Bible every morning, and I never get through all my notes because we listen to the Bible, and then I take notes, and then to fill out the half hour, I just comment on certain things, and so I was just going to proceed with that, but that was me. I always have plenty to say. I can fill plenty of time. Your brain is like 80.
Yeah, 80. Yeah, I'll take that. As long as I don't have an 80-year-old Joe Biden brain, I'm good to go.
As long as it's not addled. An addled old brain.
Yes, Carrie. I'm on the 16th. It'll be my birthday. Yeah, and I'll be 43 years of age. We don't say old anymore when you get the years of age. Age and integrity.
43 years young.
No, because then you sound real narcissistic. Yeah. I make jokes. I'm married, but as a funny thing, I'm at this age where if I were to be single, I would be in like purgatory, because when you're really young, old women want you, and when you're really old, young women want you, and at my age, nobody wants me.
Well, it's a good thing you have a good woman.
Yes, yes, I have a great woman who is just astoundingly beautiful inside and out, and we share a lot of the same, values, which is great. We can sit down and we actually sit with each other when we eat dinner. The family does, and my kids are getting old enough now that they kind of get up and do their own thing, but they'll hang out for a little bit. My oldest, she goes in her bedroom, but my youngest, she still sits with us for a little while, but then she kind of gets occupied. But my wife and I would sit at the table, and we'll talk to each other, and we'll bring up certain subjects of the day, all organically, not even anywhere engineered. And she understands a lot of what's going on, and as much as I do, we kind of feed off of that. So it's a great thing.
Sounds like it could be a podcast all its own.
It could, but she doesn't want to get into that. She likes kind of being in the background, which
I get it.
Yeah. With you got to have yin and yang. You can't have two yangs or two yins. Otherwise, the thing doesn't even look right. It's a weird thing. Nobody will make a necklace out of that.
My wife hates being on camera. If the picture looks good, she'll be like, oh, I look good in that. But she would never do this. I mean, she'll chime in when she overhears me say something, and she's not afraid to speak up. But as far as the camera being on her, she's not interested.
So is she doing Kamala, or is she going to do the Trump? Do we know?
I think she's gonna probably split the difference. I'll probably persuade her not to vote Kamala, but I don't know if I can get her to vote Trump. So at least to get her not to vote, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't want to. We don't. She might be listening, so let's not mess up a.
She's not. Today's the first day of school here in our school district. So
oh wow, indoctrination camp is on. Yay!
It's on.
Oh man,
my youngest today is the first day of the senior year for my youngest child. In other words, my last child in high school just began her last year of school.
Luckily, old enough not to buy into the propaganda of the guidance counselor saying you need to take certain medication to change your transmission.
Yeah, and so with them, my two younger ones that are still in the house, I every now and then I do a pop quiz, and I better be careful saying this here on YouTube because it's Dave. Hey Dave,
what's up, Dave?
Good to see you, my friend. So I do a pop quiz, and I've got to be careful saying this here on this particular platform, but I give it's a one question pop quiz. How many genders are there? And they always answer correctly. And it's
there you go.
Okay. As long as you've got that fundamental truth down that there's
there's a fixed number of those right now. We don't
it is fixed.
We all know what that number is.
God made it that way, and it's never going to change ever.
Right. Yeah. That's and when you change your transmission and to where you can't put the original transmission back in, there's a high rate of vehicles getting scrapped or no longer with us. You like that mechanic euphemism for things?
Yeah.
Go from an automatic to a stick shift. There's no turning back. It's just not going to happen. Anyways, because you cut holes in the firewalls. And when you do that, you have to.
The analogies are good.
Yeah. So, what's your take on this article? That because it was, Gina asked me, so what's the topic for tomorrow? And I like to wait till kind of the last minute because things come up, and I have topics that are in my mind always, but I like to find an article that coincides with what I've got in my mind. That way, we have paper to pencil, pen to paper, whatever, something we can go by. But no one is fooled, even China, Russia, Iran, alliance nations, see how horribly biased and dishonest U.S. media is today. And, you have a little bit of a foothold in the media sector. I'm not going to name names, but what's your take on that? How does that – I'm going to ask you in a therapeutic manner. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel grieved because – those foreign adversaries, when they see it, they laugh and exploit it, right? The foreign adversaries are like, oh my goodness, we can buy the media. We can actually get in there because all they have to do is like, oh, there's this one side of the aisle that has definitively anti-American policies. And I'm like, oh, and they also like foreign money, so we're going to buy them, right? And I don't know if you recall, there was this. It was 2020, right after the steal, right? Right after the steal, there was this video that went out. I don't know if it's still findable out there, but it was a lecture at a Beijing university.
Oh yeah,
And it was the university that all of the CCP, anybody that wants to go into government, right? Let's just say it that way, and into government in China, they go to this university. So it's essentially a brainwashing institute, or a propaganda. It's an economics institute, I think. And this professor, or the economics professor, was speaking, and it was right after the 2020 thing happened, and he was bemused. Right, his tone was kind of surprised and
it's quite playful. I thought
Yeah,
it was quite playful. The way it was hubris, playfulness, contentness of what they had achieved, the goals necessary for their agenda.
right. He's like, it was kind of pleasantly surprised that they pulled it off. And he didn't use that term exactly. He didn't necessarily say we did it, but like that when Biden won the presidency, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe those people fell for this. And it was the tone that the American populace fell for this. And then he went on to talk about how they, meaning his party in that country, have installed people in positions of influence and power all throughout the upper strata and the institutions of the United States, implying in the educational institutions, in the businesses, in the tech institutions, and in the powers and the seats of government, that they, a foreign adversary, have their people in place over here. And the media is essentially their lapdog. I mean, obviously we've been following it for a long time. They'll parrot narratives, whatever the CCP wants reported, they side with it, right? Our media. And so how do they feel about it? They're aware of how foolish our media is, and they use it for their own advantages.
Yeah. Well, recently, and I think is it San Francisco or Los Angeles, where they have a person that's not even a citizen that's head of the elections that can't even technically vote.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah. Left coast. Yeah.
What do you? I mean, so it's just one state, but like obviously somebody's seen a loophole in a law and just took full advantage of that. And their intentions, I'm sure, most of the time when you want to move into somebody's house and take over, you don't move in and take over the same day. What you do is you move in and you act cool with everybody. You pretend like you're going to play ball, and you're just going to keep your side of the house clean. And then before you know it, once you've kind of worked your way in and you've done certain favors and different things, now you can start kind of doing things the way you want to do. And then what are you going to do about it? And so I'm sure we'll see this come to the fruition where this is going to be a detrimental thing to San Francisco and California, which then kind of heads into the United States. If there's loopholes in that state, I'm sure there's others in other states that you're going to see. Especially when it comes to a lot of the foreign actors that came in across the border illegally, they're going to make their stand in any way possible. In Dana Nestle's district, Michigan, where they have all Muslim people running the show over there. That's what yeah. But anyway, so we'll look into this. I'm going to read about this article to see what we're going to read in this article. There we go. All right. Technology, don't fail me now. The U.S. and Western countries have constructed a fake news media behemoth that rivals any other propaganda outlet in history. Okay, for that first line, let me refresh everybody's memory. And I have somebody that is that I know very well. We were talking about this, and he was like, "What are you talking about with the Smith-Muntz Act modification?" And it kind of makes me want to look the article up in real time. Let me see here. Let me type this in. Smith month modification. Let's see what here. What
Hammer
comes up?
time. Good to have you. Good to have you back,
What's up,
Hammer.
Hammer? Yeah. 2012. Share this tab and get this rolling here. So 2012 would have been the tenure of the Obama administration.
Yep.
And you can, I think we've got, do I have it pulled? Yes. Okay. We're working. We're doing well. We got this rolling. Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 amends the United States Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948 to authorize the Secretary of State and the Broadcasting Board of Governors to provide for the preparation and dissemination of information intended for foreign audiences abroad about the United States, including about its people, its history, and in federal government policies through press, publications, radio, motion pictures, and the internet, and other information media, including social media, and through information centers and instructors. Under the current law, such authority is restricted to information disseminated abroad, with the limited domestic exception. Okay, that's actually extremely pivotal. I mean, that's kind of alarming when you break it down. Think about that. That gives the government power to propagandize the United States citizens any means necessary to enact a certain agenda. Because this is something that we did back whenever the man with the mustache was doing stuff bad to people. And so our government knew this, and to head this off, that guy with the mustache that was doing stuff bad to people had a chief propagandist guy that worked for him, under him, and this guy was really good at his job. This is how the guy with the mustache was able to go into all these countries and do what he needed to do, and had people on his side because he was able to promote a propaganda network system that conditioned people to think this way, to normalize feeling this way about a certain group of people. And then that enabled him the ability to come into these countries and have allies and people that were willing to go and work with him. And the guy with the mustache, I don't like to say his name because it does trigger the internet's algorithm to censor us. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But he would Sieg Heil everybody. Okay. And so the United States knew this. And so they understood that kinetic war is one thing, but you have to have the people on your side to be able to go in these countries and counteract what the guy with the Sieg Heil mustache was doing. So they had to head off Hitler's propaganda with their own propaganda to get the people to move in a certain direction, so that they had to, and this took time, but you had to have really good propaganda people to do that. So now in the United States, where it looks like we've had possible coups that have taken place, the most recent would be the installation of the vice president and the current running president of the Kamala Harris people. When you look at what happened there, that was a coup. Nobody voted for these people in the primary. These people were selected to be the people, which is alarming, because in a constitutional republic, this would never happen, but in a democracy, it would. So let that sink in, like Elon Musk did when he brought the sink into Twitter after he bought it. Let that sink in. Now with the Smith-Mundt Modification Act, under the guise of Obama, that knew exactly what this was, he kind of advocated for the media to be able to enable to do this, which he pushed Congress in a direction to do. Looked at all the articles over, did not sign it out, did not rule it unconstitutional. Let it be rolled right on through. Gave, especially in working in conjunction with the Patriot Act. We are in a very dangerous place in the United States, considering what people are up against to try to make their own decisions, because people are just creatures of habit and what they see and what they do. So that's kind of and I wanted to read that article out because a lot of people hear me talk about the Smith-Mundt Act but never see me actually read the article, and people need to be very concerned with the direction America is headed because of that. As a therapist, how does that make you feel?
Well, I was reflecting on my travels overseas. So I did 2 overseas trips. One in 2018, one in 2017, summer of 2017, and then again summer of 2018 or 2019. I don't remember. It was a year in between or 2 years in between. But I distinctly remember, especially when I was in Germany. So I was in Germany for, I was in London as well for a couple of weeks. I was in Germany for about 2 weeks, and London at a different time for 2 weeks, and watching English language in Germany, watching the English language television. All there is CNN for news. Literally, it's the only English language television you're going to find, and it's just CNN. And so over there, that's the totality of their understanding of what's going on in America. Like that's anybody that wants to watch what the American television is telling America and the rest of the world. And I was like channeling and looking and searching and not having access to, Wi-Fi and everything like that. I mean, I had access to Wi-Fi, but not, really knowing what's, people can access whatever. Actually, that's not true. Even the internet is regulated in a lot of these nations. So the information, freedom of speech is not such a popular thing over there. Certainly, I mean, we have one thing in the United States that will prevent any ultimate boots on the ground takeover, and that is the Second Amendment combined with our Christian faith. I was thinking about this yesterday. It's like things look bleak. Things look like not good at all. Like the propaganda machine that's propping up this installed candidate is getting some traction, or at least a bump appearance, of a bump in the polls. But people that understand polls are like, yeah, don't pay attention to that. Trump has his highest approval rating in history right now, even in the midst of what's going on right now. If you just look at the straight numbers, he has the highest approval in the election he won in 2016 and the election he won in 2020. He has higher approval ratings now. So, as far as all that goes, but even thinking along the pessimistic lines, what if they pull off another one on November 5th? That'll be very bad, very, very bad, but for America. But there's something that can't touch, and that's the core of our patriotism and our adherence and our love for God. Right? That doesn't exist like it does in the United States. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. And because of the Second Amendment, it's going to be very difficult for a foreign government to penetrate, and it's mostly the states. And there's this idea that some states are going to be leftist and some states are going to be on the right, and as far as we can't really have a civil war like we have in the past, but there will be some kind of laying down the law where if the federal government is leftist and they're trying to bully right-leaning states, then the states have sovereignty, and like what you, the federal government, are telling us to do is counter to the Constitution, counter to what we believe. They can resist. And so then it's like, how many people in the federally run U.S. military can you muster to go against, say, Texas, who has their own state military, right? Will it come to that if the left pulls off this another 2020? I don't know that that's possible. It seems like that, well, what some of the talking heads are saying is that when Kamala picked Tim Walz, it was throwing in the towel, right? It was like they know they can't win, so she picked a radical leftist to I don't know, remove him from the running in 2028 or something like that. But the true believers think that they're going to pull it off. So I don't know. I'm at a place where I'm just not sure what's going to happen.
Well, I think we're kind of all there at this point, and that's normal. That's normal. And
September 15th is the date I'm hearing is when the polls will actually be accurate. September 15th. It was Bill O'Reilly, good old Bill O'Reilly. I was listening to him. He says, ignore the polls right now. Ignore them, ignore them, ignore them. September 15 is when they will have a more accurate reflection, because that'll be 5 days after the debate, right? Kamala's not going to do the September 4th debate. She's agreed to the September 10th debate. And after that debate, there'll be 4 or 5 days for the polls to start catching up to people's responses to those two choices. That's the first time the world will see the two choices side by side, Trump, Kamala. And 5 days after that debate is when the polls will reflect what's going to happen, right?
Right.
Start trusting them then.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. So, but this seems like nobody liked. I'm not trying to black pill anybody, but we've got to be concerned about when we see poll numbers come out that aren't accurate that we know of. And what that tends to do is they need to lay groundwork for their future plans. And there was just no way that anybody could hide but and the thing was, they would skew Biden's poll numbers if they really wanted him to win, if they wanted this guy in. But when they knew it was time to get rid of him because it was just that difficult to hide his cognitive decline. So we actually started to get a window of what was really going on. They actually allowed numbers to be accurate. So I think we've been looking at skewed. When there was supposedly going to be a red wave in 2022, I think that they hyped the poll numbers up. I think that the poll numbers were skewed in our favor to give us a false sense of security. Because typically when you're running a race, and whether it's on foot, in a car, whatever that race may be, if you have an overzealous sense of confidence, typically you tend to kind of relax a little bit. We've seen this in real time when it comes to people at doing a 10K and a certain when they run the circles and they get to almost at the end and they realize they're pretty far ahead. They kind of get their stride and they're not pushing as hard. And then here comes somebody who sees an opportunity that goes around that person.
They lose the sense of urgency. Yes.
Yes. And so that probably, because, that I think that, there were some skewed things that happened in 2022 and it's proven with Arizona and the machines and all that, but we won't go into detail because we've already been there. But with that in conjunction with the fact that they gave us a false sense of security, they were able to pull it over on us. And then as much as we were like, yay, red wave, that gave the left a lot of talking points to make fun of us, which would then demoralize us. And we were supposed to, and we've been through a lot. All of us have, the people in the comment sections. You have, I have, as content creators, and people that take in the content and get your hopes up, get let down. This is nothing new when it comes to typical Marxism and how you condition the public for tyranny. I mean, if we could only see what happened in real time in Venezuela, so far as their confidence level of people who knew that there was, that they were tired of communism, they were tired of being repressed, they were tired of being broke and living, eating street, rats because there's no food. They thought for sure they had this one in the bank, and they, the fact that Maduro was installed allegedly, it really worked on the public, and they need a public confrontation so that they can really crack down with their tyrannical policies by watching the public kind of go crazy. And I think that what we're actually feeling right now is us being rounded up and pushed into a tight corner. And they really, with that being said, we need to be really concerned about 2024, and we don't need to act overconfident. And I don't know exactly how it's going to end, but as Alex Jones said best, if you want to fight, you've got one. This is what, politically, by the way, but but the media is the puppet of this propaganda machine. Knowing this, I've came to the conclusion that there are certain people who are ignorant, there are certain people who are hubris, and there are certain people who just want sheer power at any cost. And with you put all three of those people in one main organization, which is our media, which is controlled, because we already understand that the Smith-Mutz Modification Act is a significant thing. We already were facing terrible media coverage from years ago up until it was actually legal for them to do it now. They're doing to us what they do to other countries to destabilize and regime change.
Well, let me just point out in our last few seconds here, kind of a glimmer of hope, or a kind of a hint that things aren't what they seem. Did you catch Stephen Colbert interview?
Oh yeah, yes, everybody laughed.
Right?
Yeah.
So this, and I watched it and I'm like, ooh, that's a pretty big deal. And that betrays the truth. right? This is leftist Stephen Colbert interviewing leftist
with
news
a leftist audience.
with a leftist, quote unquote, leftist audience. And he's just as straightforward. Now, I know you guys are objective when you report, and the spontaneous laughter from that audience, they know that it's a sham, right? And
yeah, Caitlin Clark had to go. Jawline on that thing is just terrible. But anyways, and she just like this right here, just moves her mouth. That's how the words come out. I don't understand how she can get her words out. But anyway, so you're gonna make fun of her for a little bit because we can. Lord forgive us. He understands. He's like, yeah, I'll give you on that one. You're good. But she's like, nobody flashed the laugh sign up. Everybody just spontaneously,
was that supposed to be
laughed.
a laugh line? Colbert was caught off guard, legitimately. He's like, it wasn't supposed to be a laugh line, but I guess it is. Right? All right. We got to go.
Yeah.
Good to see you, my brother.
Take it easy. Peace out. Big hug. Lots of love. Thank you, everybody in the comment section. Robin Spielman, Dorit, Carrie, thank you so much. Oh, everybody. And Lucas, Sega. We out. Peace out.